a fox down the road, drunk as a skunk, on starlight and moonshine. Thought I'd never go home. How can you miss what you have never known? How can you see what you have never been shown? How can you crave what is so overgrown? The rose has thorns, and this kiss will be the death of me. Coyote walks down the street on the white line, straight as a good lie. I watch as she veers into the opulent dark. I fall to my knees and dig my nose in the earth. I know there is music here, but I'm too long deaf to hear. I'll go on home and watch a movie on the wall. Plato was right after all, but when I close my eyes, my mind careens around the hall. Sleep, darling, sleep. Sleep, darling, sleep. Sleep, darling, sleep. Sleep, darling, sleep. How can you know what you have never known?
Wow. Should we just extend this for another hour, this event, and listen to them from Carla, Shazad, thank you so much for opening of the event and setting the tone today. That was beautiful. Can we give him another round of applause? A few weeks ago, I asked Mahyad, our speaker today, if he had a friend that he would love to open the event for, and his face lit up, and he started telling me about Carla. And I was like, well, that's a winner. And then Carla 2 days ago said, actually, I'm bringing my friend Shazad. So the pile of good things is, thank you both so much. All right, good Creative Mornings. Tina Roth Eisenberg. I'm the Mornings and your New York City chapter host. And I am welcoming you today from the Lenape people. We here recognize the significance of Brooklyn for Lenape people, past and present. And I want to welcome the people who tune in on the live stream. We're so happy you're here. I hope you're cozy in bed with a cup of coffee. And what an absolute delight to be here at MAD, the Museum of Arts and Design. This is the very first time we're here, hosted here. I want to say thank you to the wonderful team here at MAD, Tyler, Dana, Grace, John, and if I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. But you made this so easy, and I slept so well leading up to this event. Who here is here for the first time at MAD? Oh, a few of you, that's awesome. So let me tell you about MAD. Since its founding in 1956, MAD has been a home for creativity in all of its forms. The museum celebrates artists, designers, makers who transform materials with imagination and skill, from time-honored traditions to bold, cutting-edge innovations. And you are so lucky that you get to actually see the exhibitions later, because MAD is very generously allowing us to walk all the floors. And if you haven't gotten a ticket, but you want to go see the exhibitions afterwards, don't worry. Our volunteers will have more tickets as you leave the space, but you will need a ticket to go up. And Team MAD asked us to highlight one exhibition in particular. It's by Saya Woolfuck. It's titled Empathic Universe, and it's an immersive experience that brings together more than 2 decades of Saya's dreamlike multidisciplinary work. So it's a journey through craft, costume, installation, sound, and performance, and it's all in service of imagining a more compassionate world, which we all believe when here at Creative Mornings. So her exhibition goes through September 7th, but there's many more. And again, you can go and check them out after the event, which is such a kind gesture of the team at MAD. So I'm grateful to be here. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. And I just want to say that it's rare that a venue exemplifies the values of Creative Mornings so beautifully like MAD does. Like MAD really embodies the spirit of Creative Mornings, honoring creativity, curiosity, and connection. So thank you. All right, when Abby and I came for a site visit in July to meet the team at MAD, and just to make sure this is a good match, we walked into the lobby, and there was Team MAD standing there, and also who's standing there was Ruth Ann Harnish. And they were all grinning at me, because they all were in on this together, because I didn't know Ruth Ann would be there, but the team at MAD knew our connection, that Ruth Ann is also a patron of Creative Mornings, because I didn't know this either, Ruth Ann is also supporting MAD. And so they kind of timed it that we would run into each other at the lobby, which was lovely. And then Ruth Ann said, like, can I sit in on the tour? So now she knows what it looks like when we check out a venue, which was wonderful. And what I just want to, if Ruth Ann is watching on the live stream, she unfortunately couldn't be here today. But Ruth Ann and Bill, if you're watching on the live stream today, I just want to thank you for your generosity. You really are making a difference in the creative community, and let's give them a round of applause. And also I want to give a shout out to Jenny, the ED of the Harnish Foundation, who's sitting in the first row, who happens to be best friends with Carla the musician, which was a complete coincidence. But I don't believe in coincidence because it's all synchronicity. Moving on. Okay. Every month we read Creative Mornings Manifesto to remind ourselves why we do what we do here at Creative Mornings, and to remind ourselves of our values. And every month I sort of go through the people that signed up for the event, and I literally just randomly pick someone. And this time I looked at people visiting from other chapters. And Cheryl Kababa, who has such a cool name. Your last name is so cool, Kababa. I just want to keep saying it. Cheryl stood out because she's visiting from Seattle. She's been to 2 events. Actually, she says 3. She might have snuck into one. But she's a design researcher, author of Closing the Loop, Systems Thinking for Designers, and the founder of a company called Optimistic Design. And I admit, I think it might have been the name of her company that I was like, yeah, I want her on stage. Anyway, come read us the manifesto, Cheryl.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be in community with you all today, especially just the serendipity of coming from out of town and finding out there's a Creative Mornings going on. So I'm really excited. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We're here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in hugs and high fives. And we bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they'll inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you. All right, Christina, come on up on stage and tell us who the brave souls were that put their names into a 30-second pitch wheel.
All right, so I have 4 names, and how this is going to work is that we're going to have the 30-second pitches after the Q&A. So when you hear your name, not to come running down to the stage right now. We'll call you again, you'll hear your name again, just so you can see around the corner of your day. So the names that we have, one other announcement, if anyone is missing their phone, it is at the security desk. Just letting you know. So the names are Nicole Beckley, Jessica Huang, Nasime, and Gabriela Gonzalez. So those will be our 4 30-second pitches. Remember, you have 30 seconds, and I will be timing, and I will hold you accountable. And I also want to invite anyone standing at the back. There are some seats here we can fill in, and now is your moment to do so. So if you have a seat beside you, maybe raise your hand. People can come in.
And move over. Just make it easy for them. Be good citizens.
Make friends.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Did you know that each one of these dots represents a Creative Mornings chapter run entirely by volunteers? We have, in fact, over 1,000 volunteers across the world that make it possible that more than 20,000 creatives get together every month in 70 countries for free. And Creative Mornings is a community-led global labor of love, as I call it, a friendship engine, and some call this church for creativity. And our events wouldn't be possible if it wasn't without the generosity of everyone involved. You showing up, our dedicated volunteers, our speakers, our musical guests, the tech teams, the venue hosts, the patrons, and our local and global partners. So let me bask in some gratitude for a second for our partners. First off, I want to thank our global partner, Adobe, for recognizing the impact that Creative Mornings is having on the global ecosystem of creativity and for supporting it so generously. I have been incredibly impressed with what they're currently building. We've been partnering with them for 9 years. I've seen them try multiple things. They really care about supporting the up-and-coming creatives, and what they're doing right now, the Adobe Creative Apprenticeship, is really unbelievable. The Adobe Creative Apprenticeship offers mentorship, real-world projects, and job opportunities for aspiring creatives. And if you're in need of an apprentice, you can apply, or you want to be an apprentice, you can apply to the program. We applied and said we would love to adopt someone and mentor them, and we are so lucky because we were matched with the most magical young human you could ever imagine. Finn, come on, show yourself. There he is. So if you're interested in taking an apprentice on, or if you want to become a mentor, or if you want to become an apprentice, like literally just look it up. It is so generous. It is the coolest thing that I think Adobe has ever done for the creative community. So thank you, Adobe. And then, are you glad we welcome you with coffee when you come in the morning? Me too. So our local partners help us cover the cost for the events, which of course includes breakfast. So let me thank them. First off, our beloved partner, MPB. They make it super easy to sell used camera gear or buy used camera gear. So if you have an old camera or a lens sitting in your drawer, set them free. Or if it's time to upgrade to a new camera, check out their inventory, because they add about 5,000 items every week to their inventory. And usually when I prepare for these slides, I fall down a rabbit hole and I look at what they've recently added. And last night, I saw the GoPro Hero 5, which reminded me of one of my all-time favorite underwater selfies I took with my children with the GoPro 5. And then I spent way too long to find the photo, so I figured I might as well just show it to you. The GoPro 5 is so cool because it's waterproof and it's like this little action camera. Highly recommend. Anyway, I digress. MPB.com is super cool. We love them. They're the kindest people that run this company, so thank you, MPB. And then I want to thank Harvest, our longstanding local partner. They're just like us, a New York City-based company, and I appreciate that they make me think about time, because one of their core product features is time tracking. And I'm a lover of quotes, and now whenever I see a time-related quote, I wrote it down, and then I share it with you. For example, this one. The creative process is a process of surrender, not control. It's about letting time shape what it's meant to be, by Julia Cameron. So if you think about time in your day-to-day, if you need a simple and beautiful way to track time or manage your time and expenses, check out getharvest.com. It's a beautiful product and a beautiful group of humans that run it. All right, so let's play a game. Are you ready? It's called Stand Up If. I'm going to project some sentences onto the screen, and if they apply to you, please stand up. If you can't stand up, just raise your hand. All right, shall we? Good, thank you. Okay, stand up if you're kind of impressed with yourself for socializing early on a Friday morning. I love how some of you are just like, nope, this is normal, this is normal. Okay, stand up if this is your first Creative Mornings event. Welcome! I will hug you after the event, just to show you how, I'm not kidding, to show you how welcome you are here. Stand up if you consider yourself an artist. That is way more than I thought would be. That is so cool. Stand up if you have created a community in a city where you knew no one. I'm standing. Very cool. Stand up if you consider yourself a digital nomad. Christina, this is for you. Where are you? I literally made this live for Christina. Come on in. Christina, this is for you. Is she the only one? That has never happened. You're not a digital nomad. You have a home. Christina doesn't have a home. What are you talking about? Maybe I need to put definitions underneath it. This slide is for you. I mean, she doesn't have it. She's literally just traveling the world and is working for wherever she is at the moment. Isn't that a digital nomad? Yeah. Am I making an assumption you all know? I'm sorry, moving on. Stand up if you've questioned your life path more than usual recently. Well, okay, I see a theme here. Okay, and the answer to that, stand up if you have a hobby that soothes your heart and helps you stay optimistic about the world. Okay, so now, what is it? Okay, some of you, give me. Gardening. Painting. Running. Okay, you know that all of the things you just said would make an amazing Creative Mornings Club. Okay, who here has been to a Creative Mornings Club? You can raise your hand. See? Who here is a host? Best people. Okay, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, Creative Mornings Clubs is something new we've started about 1.5 years ago. Clubs are small, intimate gatherings entirely organized by you, for the community, for each other. So they bring the generous, inclusive spirit of Creative Mornings to your local neighborhood any day of the week. Because all of you have been complaining that just one Friday morning a month is just not enough. So here we go. You fix it yourself. So we started prototyping clubs 1.5 years ago, and it's been a big hit because you are so fun to experiment with. Because we have over 30 clubs up and running, and over 6,000 people have gotten together and made friends. That is incredible. And you're like, yeah, well, what do they look like? For example, making comics, teaching you how to make dumplings. Matthew's Idealist Club, you get together weekly, dream up social good experiments, and then do things like you give flowers to strangers. In Ricardo's Cinema Paradiso Club, you get to explore the rich history of cinema, and he has an incredible snack table. Katie's Write Shop, you get together on a Monday morning and you write silently. And at Make Time, shall we, creates a space where you get to make the creative work you never make time for. And then Nelson, our very own Nelson, runs the legendary Photocapels, where you take your camera and wander through various neighborhoods. And in Jillian's Sun Your Bun, you picnic in the park. That's basically it. So check out the clubs page, see if there's something that resonates with you. And if you change the filter on that page now, you can tell that we launched in different cities. So if you have a friend in Winnipeg, Austin, Philadelphia, San Francisco, please tell them about clubs. And if there's something you love doing and you'd like to make friends while doing it, then start a Creative Mornings Club, because we literally fill the room with really kind, curious, and fun people. Okay, and now to the main attraction of our event. This month's global theme in the Creative Mornings universe is nomad. It was chosen by our Ulaanbaatar chapter. Ulaanbaatar is in Mongolia, in case you're wondering. And the illustration was designed by Oyuna Bold. And now it is with my great pleasure to introduce my friend and a truly exceptional creative mind to the Creative Morning stage, Mahyad Tousi. Mahyad is a remarkably talented Brooklyn-based artist, filmmaker, and founder of the nonprofit Starfish, dedicated to amplifying underrepresented voices in the arts. And Mahyad's work effortlessly bridges the worlds of Hollywood and high-concept art, ranging from network television to immersive museum installations. You may know him as the creator of Remote, a dreamlike solar punk collaboration with artist Mika Rottenberg that premiered at both the New York Film Festival and Tate Modern. And he's currently developing 2 groundbreaking projects, a follow-up to the Remote and Cura, a sensory ritual cinema experience made in partnership with indigenous Amazonian communities. His work is beautiful, his work is important, he has a heart of gold, this man. I'm very lucky to call him a friend and my studio mate. Please give a rockstar round of applause for Mahyad Tousi.
All right. Thank you, Tina. Thank you to the fabulous Creative Morning team for having me. How's the sound? Can you guys hear me? All right. A shout out to all the Creative Mornings international chapters around the world that make this community so very special. I love the fact that this is happening everywhere. I think sometimes we don't acknowledge that, but the fact that this is happening everywhere and everyone's thinking about the same concept and idea, I think is quite special. All right. Good morning. How's everyone doing? All right. Show of hands. How many of you have made a major move at least once in your life? And think of the idea of a move as something broader than just physical, because I think by the end of this thing, you'll understand what I mean. Well, so have I. This is me nomading at the age of 8 in the mountains north of Tehran, and here's the truth as I have lived it. We're all strangers in this world. That sense of otherness, restless, out of place, not enough, that's not a weakness, that's a superpower. Why does that matter? The world we know is collapsing, politically, culturally, technologically, and I believe that collapse will turn us all into nomads if we're not already. I sense this because I've been forced to be a nomad more than once. I want to share fragments of my journey because they hold values and clues about what it means to be a creative in this moment for all of us. So Ruth Bahar asks, in a nomadic world, do we still need a home? I love her, and I love her answer. Home is a set of memories that can't be confined to any map. That lands for me because it captures what I understood as a kid and what took me a lifetime to rediscover. Home isn't where you live. Home is what you carry. It moves with you. Like joy, it survives uphill and upheaval. That's me and my mom on the Caspian coast. I was ready to go. My mom had other ideas. Story of my life. I was nearly 6 years old when the Iranian Revolution started. 1 year, I'm in a secular cosmopolitan Iran. The next, it's social and economic upheaval. Euphoria turned into zealotry, peace to war, public executions, my mother forced into a hijab, daily bombing raids, ration lines, a life on the edge, instability, fear, censorship, on and on. And yet somehow joy survived. I still played soccer every day. I still had a family and friends who lit up my world. We danced, we laughed, we played. But the moment that defined me came from the penthouse in our building. To be clear, this was not where we lived. Right? I lived there for a time until my head got too big, literally. I'll explain. Here it is. We lived down there, the penthouse, 3 stories large with multiple balconies and a private elevator, was abandoned. wax sealed shut by the Revolutionary Guards, off limits, so of course I had to find a way in. For about a year, I'd take the elevator up to the 20th floor, slip my head and the rest of my body through the fire escape security railing, monkey bar, 4 or 5 feet across the balcony, 20 stories up, mind you, with the wind whipping through my hair, made sure my mom never saw me, just far enough to slip through the balcony railings, and voila. In fact, this might be the first time my mom hears about this. I apologize. Inside was a treasure chest, cracked open. Abandoned jazz records, novels of every type. My favorite was Gone with the Wind, but that's a story for another talk. There were games, comic books, movies, everything and anything. There was even a collection of Playboy magazines through the end of 1978. I think that was when the guy left. That was also when I first fell in love. What? Sexiness was banned. And really, I was into the articles. Like this one. In all seriousness, I was just 9, 10 years old. Up in that massive playground is where I felt free for the first time. It's where I fell in love with literature, music, and storytelling, among other things. But most importantly was that in that penthouse where I first met the artist in me. When the world erases stories, you become a nomad of memories, carrying what others abandon, and once you catch a scent of abandoned artifacts and stories, you never stop hunting. Think about your childhood. What were your treasures? What fragments have you carried forward, and why? The first migration most of us make is away from ourselves. This was the first lesson life taught me. Once I left Iran and my family, home wasn't a place anymore. It was the stories I carried out of my childhood and out of that penthouse. Home became memory in motion, and I would argue that's true for most of us. I was 13 when I left Iran. I thought I was leaving instability and chaos behind. Iran was my home, my family was my home, America was something else, an idea, a place where I thought my future self belonged. After all, I was born here. Why am I flashing? But exile doesn't work like that. Landing in the US, I found a country I thought I already knew, from books, movies, music videos, etc. Except in real life, it all felt quite alien. I scrubbed my accent, changed my hard-to-pronounce name, tried to fit in. I became someone else. And in that process, I forgot the artist that I'd met in that penthouse. Survival became the soundtrack of my life. My first job at 14 was making fried rice food, a small mall food court in the 80s, mind you. And I've been working ever since, bagging groceries, throwing dance parties, bartending, opening restaurants, hustle after hustle, every time reinventing myself and surviving. For a long time, I referred to those early years after I arrived to the States as my dark age, the lost years, the years I lived as someone else, while my true self desperately to find a way out of the self-imposed exile. And here's what those years taught me. Survival is kind of magic. You can pull worlds out of thin air. You learn to make something out of nothing, but survival can also trap you. It can trick you into thinking survival is enough. And in survival mode, you risk losing the scent of your own story. Has the need to survive or thrive, because thriving is also a way of surviving in this world, ever made you forget the scent of your story? Paradoxically, I came to understand that trying to fit in made me feel more alien than wandering ever did. Sometimes wandering isn't exile at all. It's liberation. That was the second lesson. Belonging is made along the way. For a long time, my otherness felt like an exile. I've come to see it differently. Otherness is a creative compass. It points you to where you need to look. That realization would come later in the Ivory Coast, but my shift back to myself had already begun. By 9/11, I was studying film, feeling the pull back towards conflict and instability, the conditions of my childhood, but this time to try and understand it. During the Ivorian Civil War, I was in Abidjan filming B-roll of refugees escaping the conflict and daily life. It was far from the actual fighting, so we thought. One morning, clashes broke out 100 yards away from me. I zoomed into a pile of swarming bodies. I saw men and boys, young boys, no older than I was when I left my family, drugged and brainwashed, killing each other with machetes and sticks. The footage was grotesque and powerful. I remember feeling absolute terror on the one hand and a strange sense of exhilaration, the sense that I was capturing something important, something that would prove my worth, elevate my career. Then my stomach turned. I had to look away from the viewfinder and I noticed another boy behind me, same age as the ones in the fighting. I can never forget it. Pokemon backpack, faded Harry Potter shirt, walking to school, his face turned backward, looking over his shoulder, terrified. Behind him, his mother stood tall, smiling at him, not because she wasn't afraid, because she knew what must be done despite the circumstances. She was doing everything in her power to put courage into her son. It hit me like a brick. My lens was facing the wrong direction. The real story wasn't the spectacle of violence. It was the everyday courage of survival in spite of whatever. I realized then that I'd lost the scent of my own story. You see, my own exile was to escape a war that conscripted children. Factually true, but that's not the story of my childhood, Iran, or my people. I realized the true power of stories. That moment changed me. It still haunts me. It taught me that the artist's superpower is not seeing what everyone sees, but having the discernment to notice what no one else is looking at, and the courage to pursue it. If your lens was pointed in the wrong direction, would you notice? Do you? Novelist Dina Nayeri writes, "Home is gone. It lives in the mind. That time exiles us all from our childhood. Exile isn't just about leaving a place, it's about time itself. We're all migrants, moving away from the children we once were, carrying fragments of that past into each new moment." Those fragments have become my compass. They've guided me for the next 20 years as I restlessly experiment with making films, video art installations, comic books, TV shows. I even had a primetime sitcom. They guide me as a father. They guide Starfish, an art organization I founded to support other artists and creatives. Starfish isn't an institution, it's an ecosystem for artist nomads like me, a way to make room for those innovating with new forms, new stories, new economics for how we carry stories forward. Why? Because the old models no longer work. They're broken, and everybody knows it. But we pretend to keep going. Keep funding the same ways, keep making things the same ways. It's broken. Now, everywhere we look, what once felt permanent is unraveling. Unlike the revolution of my childhood, this collapse hides in distractions. I forgot I'd done that. I'm like, well, I wasn't expecting a laugh on this one. It feeds on our fatalism. Exile isn't personal anymore. It became the condition of the century. Even AI knows. Shit's not good. But here's the thing. Artists are survivalists. We've trained ourselves to live on the edge, to make something out of nothing, to imagine new worlds. That's our gift and our curse. So we have to ask ourselves, in this moment of profound transformation, do we cling to a home that no longer exists, or do we meet this collapse with open hearts and carry the stories forward? As for me, I find myself climbing again, like with the penthouse of my childhood, feet dangling in the air, searching for traces of lost stories and wisdom. That instinct drew me back into another conflict zone after 2 decades away. This time, it was the Amazon rainforest, the front line of our war on the natural world. Last year alone, man-made fires set to feed our lifestyle burned sections of the Amazon about the size of Italy. That's just in 2024. And yet, inside the forest's indigenous communities, the guardians of this precious ecosystem, I found something else. An impossible joy that has somehow survived against all odds, a profound connection to nature, and a wisdom that might just heal us all. This time, I know where my lens needs to turn. That's what I'm carrying forward now. The work that has uprooted me once again, and I want to share a glimpse of it here with you. Maybe we do the lights. Yeah, here we go.
There are those who remember what we've lost, who speak in frequencies we've forgotten how to hear. And carry medicine for a planet in crisis. Among them, 2 tribes in the Amazon who carry the forest's wisdom. While rivers are poisoned, ceremonies endure. While invaders destroy, communities heal. They offer something beyond words, beyond explanation, beyond the stories that keep us separate. A quiet knowing that our own healing is inseparable from the forests. Kura is more than a documentary. It's a living ceremony, rooted in joy and hope. A healing ritual for a disconnected world, where strangers lie together in darkness, where sound becomes medicine, where frequencies recalibrate your nervous system, where image becomes prayer, where strangers become kin. The forest speaks in patterns lost to the modern world. This wisdom can't be captured in ordinary ways. Can't be explained, analyzed, or consumed. It can only be experienced. Just you, the forest, and its guardians. Just presence and transformation. Kura is a living ceremony. And now, an invitation. To stand in unity with the guardians of the Amazon. To protect those who protect us. Thank you for your support.
I think we can bring the lights back. Thank you. Kura is the culmination of everything I've lived, my compass, the story I'm risking everything to retrieve. This is a work that breaks not just the rules of form, but the financial rules of how this kind of work gets made, gets financed, and how it shares its proceeds with those who are impacted by the story most and whose lives shape it. I invite you all to take a deeper look at what we're doing and reach out. But here's the truth. Each of you carries fragments only you are equipped and lived a life to bring forward. Reading Abdul Razak Gurna, I'm struck by his insistence that ultimately rootlessness itself might be the only place we can claim. Rootless, but not lost. We're all strangers in this world, but our otherness is not exile. It's a compass. It's a superpower. The very thing that will help us meet this moment. So in a nomadic world, do we still need a home? I believe we do. But home isn't what we've lost. Home is what we carry forward. Home is the story we become. I will leave you with this final question. What truth are you willing to risk everything to retrieve? Go on then. Thank you. Testing.
Huh? At the bottom.
Bottom.
Can we give him another round of applause? We have a few minutes for questions for Mahyad. Raise your hand if you want to ask something. That was beautiful, Mahyad.
Thank you.
And oh so personal. Where? Who? Where? Can you stand up and say your name?
Hi, I'm Shelby. You mentioned briefly about sort of a new funding format for this. Can you talk a little bit about what inspired that change and how this new format will impact the subjects?
Sure. Oh God, that's a good question. So look, I think all of us who've been in this industry long enough, whether we're funders, whether we're artists, whether, whatever capacity, we know the system doesn't work, right? I'll give you a number. This was told to me by, I won't name the organization, but the average documentary that Netflix buys is paid for $15,000 to $25,000, right? And that take global rights. So imagine how much time, life's work, energy, resources goes into making a documentary, right? So that's one example. The system is broken for many reasons, from funding all the way to the others. And so, as you heard my life story, I try to get to places. I don't sit there and wait for things to change around me. And when I became a funder in the arts, I realized that we had to solve things in a much more profound way. And so one of the things, I've lived a career where I've worked in Hollywood, I've worked in the art world, and one of the things the art world does is that they sell editions of a work before a work is made. And I think this is something we can use in order to fund more traditional media, cinema work, et cetera. But specifically when you're working outside, but that's not enough, because still, who buys editions? There's people with a lot of money who want to donate things to museums and have things in their name, have things in their collection as an asset base. That's not everyone. So what we did was we took the digital edition model. We took the edition model and we created digital editions of the work. Those are split into a finite number of collectible in web, so you can own it like an NFT, but mature NFT, not the old NFT of 10 years ago. So you can own a piece of that work, let's say for $1,000 or $500, whatever the artist wants to set it at. That allows you to pre-sell a portion of that work to an audience that can afford it, that wants to support it, et cetera. It lowers the cost of entry to something that's a lot more accessible to people. And then what we're doing, working with one of our friends who is here right now, is to build a digital app that allows you to download that work, let's say at $20, $30. And then you have it like a vinyl on your phone. You can project it on your television through your projector. You can share it with your friends. If your Netflix subscription doesn't run out, no one takes it away from you. It's like a vinyl, right? And that the economics of the app then go to, in part, to the indigenous communities that supported the film, in part to the artist community equally that were behind the project, and in part back to the people who bought those $1,000, $500 digital editions to repay them for their, even make some money, right? So it's a way, and the app is peer-to-peer, so it's not sitting on AWS. You don't have to, you can distribute 4K, amazing sound without having to pay those costs. And it allows to build a bottom-up network as an artist to be able to sell directly to your audience and not have to wait for gatekeepers and not have to wait for those. And so this doesn't necessarily solve all the problems, but what it does is that it allows for economics of, that there's reciprocity, because it isn't. Right now, subjects don't get anything, and that's a problem. Right now, artists don't get anything. They used to, but they don't even get anything anymore. And so the money stays somewhere else if you get distribution, if it gets out there. And so this allows for a lot of work to be liberated from the shelves, a lot of work that people want to be liberated from the shelf and around, and especially for work that is tied to economics. Sorry, this took a long time. But I'm happy to answer this more afterwards if you want.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Shazad Ismaili. I wanted to ask a question based on a different kind of creation. Do you have kids?
I do.
So that's my question. Oh, great. Hi, welcome. So have you ever thought about, I totally agree with you that the traditional structures are completely demolishing and being uprooted and disappearing. So have you ever thought about not sending your kids to school anymore because many of the schools are built on the assumption that we're training them to live in that world that will not exist? And so as a father as well, I'm curious about that.
No, I haven't thought about it, no, because I think that I wish I had, look, do we have the means to not put our kids in school? Then what happens to them when they're not in school, right? So I think the unfortunate reality of the life that we live in is that how do you then, where does the time come from? Who has the means of being able to homeschool their kids or spend time with them? What happens to the socialization? Because for me, look, I went to school in the middle of a war and a revolution. There were 70, because all the war refugees had come into Tehran. I had like 76, 77 students in my class. I hardly saw them. We got our ass kicked every time we didn't do homework, like it was bad, right? But I'm okay. So I don't really put that much value in school, to be honest with you. I think the value of school was the friends I made, the friction that I survived. I believe we removed way too much friction from our children. I think children need friction. So at the very least, school is going to provide them with proper friction, and they have to, they have to navigate. They need to be able to navigate those things. And so no, I really haven't thought about it. Not been in a place to even think about it, because I really believe in them being out there and surviving whatever the world is, not what I imagine or want it to be.
I have a question for you, Mahyad.
Yes.
Because I have the pleasure to work alongside Mahyad in a shared space, and I've seen him work on Kura, and it's just beautiful to see him, like how this work is evolving and unfolding. What's your dream for Kura?
So my dream for Kura is next year, hopefully during Climate Week, and then following that, the London Climate Week, that we have an installation that we will design. That'll be a sort of, think of it as a maloka, a shared community space that's typical to the Amazon that you'd enter. You're surrounded immediately in one of the most beautiful canopies of the Amazon. Just as it's getting dark, when the sound is unbelievable. You think New York is loud. New York ain't got nothing on the Amazon. It just sounds soothing, even though it is madness of life explosion. There's a hammock structure, almost like a tensile webbing structure that you climb on and you lay down in. There's a screen, large screen floating above you. You're sitting within a 12-channel canopy of sound. We're recording 96 megahertz, so it's beyond what you can audibly hear. And that's the reason why you're laying on that hammock structure, because all of the low-end frequencies are connected via excisors to the webbing of the hammock. So you're feeling all of that low-end frequency connecting to your back, and you go through this vision, this nonverbal vision that is meant to interoceptively work with your body somatically, and to shut down your analytical mind. Right? The idea is for you to put this away and to allow your body to consume this. And the reason why is because the journey will take you through shadow. You'll see the people who are burning the place on the ground. You'll be right there with them. Hopefully, I'll be there in September filming that section of it. We've been preparing for a year to get there and do that. The burn season happens between the end of September and October. That's when suddenly people go crazy. You'll go through shadow, but you'll come into community who's around these fires, who's in this place, and you see their joy and how they live together, how they live with this forest, their relationship with this forest, and you sort of go into abstraction and you come and land in joy and hope, and that's the idea. The idea is that a lot of good work has been done with climate work, but that work has made us anxious, right? All the facts and data has crippled us. And what I learned from the indigenous was that fear doesn't work. Guilt doesn't work. When you see them struggling, they respond to it with joy. They're resistant, they're powerful, but they never let that joy go. And that joy is critical. And the idea of the work isn't just to inform you, it's not to inform you at all mentally, it's to inform your body that your own ultimate healing is interconnected with the forest. This is something that the indigenous throw around like it's everyday knowledge. The kid will come and tell you, you're not going to feel better because the forest is sick. Well, we're running around trying to heal ourselves in an ecosystem that we're a part of that is hurting. And I think that's the understanding that I hope to cure in all of us, is that A, cure our eco-anxiety, and B, make sure that we understand that that nature isn't something outside of us, it's something within us, and we can't truly heal ourselves until we heal the planet. And these two things need to happen simultaneously.
Well, that was beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
30-second pictures. It's your time. We need to make sure we're not running too much over. I'm so sorry, Team Med. 30-second pictures. Come on up.
All right, so we have Nicole, Jessica, Yasime, and Gabrielle. Do we have everybody? Excellent. So I'm going to give you this mic. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I have a timer, and I'm going to grab a xylophone that's behind Tina on the floor. I stashed it. When you hear the xylophone, that means that your 30 seconds is up. As you're approaching the end of your 30 seconds, I might just start walking towards you as a physical indicator. All right, so I will hand you this. Excellent. Oh, you can be the xylophone person. Born for this. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to walk this way.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I wanted to ask, how often have you encountered a really funny novel? Not an essay collection, not a memoir, a full-length novel. Maybe infrequently. It's something that I really love, but I don't see them that often, so I wrote one myself. It's called Torsos of Desire. It's about a woman who works in the design department of a romance novel publishing house. It is very joke-filled, so if it sounds like something you might like, you can actually listen to it now. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get a podcast. And if you'd like to make it into a physical book, contact me.
Great job. All right, I'm going to hand it over next.
Hi, I'm Jessica. Well, first off, I gotta share a story, which is that I almost did not submit my name this morning, and I am so glad I did, because here I am. I am a business coach for wellness and creative entrepreneurs. I help people build bold, profitable businesses. And if you're someone like me that was like, whoa, should I do the thing? I am inviting people to step in and build the thing that they really want to build. So my whole thing is building sustainably, not doing it in the hustle and grind, not doing it where you're burning out. You're like, oh my God, you've taken your 9-to-5 job and just built it into the thing that you really want for yourself. So, we're going in. All right, so if that is something of interest to you, then come talk to me.
Excellent. We're just checking. Can you hear this mic okay? Is it just that we're behind? Okay, we're behind.
Hello, I'm Gabby. I have one freebie and one ask. Women of Color Retail Alliance has a big summit at the Microsoft headquarters in Times Square on September 25th. It is free. It's a community building event headlined by Sunny Hostin, so you should RSVP. Also, I do fundraising for Women's Media Group. We give scholarships to women in media who are looking to advance their careers. Only 27% of top newsroom decision makers are women. So now more than ever, we need women's voices and women's perspectives. We need parity for that. Thank you.
Perfect timing. That's amazing. All right, our last one.
Hello, my name is Nassima. It's great to meet you all, and I run creative wellness events, and I wanted to tell you about them. Once a month, I run one called Inner Child Art Night that mixes creativity and wellness to help adults remember to play. I'm also starting my own company called Samartica, which also mixes creativity and wellness, both for those events and for companies. So if that's something you're interested in bringing into your office or into your life, come talk to me. I'd love to tell you all about it. How many more seconds do I have? Oh my God, I love you! That's it!
So you know, if you started them as clubs,
What's that?
if you started these things as a club, you would fill the room. And thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm so proud of all you brave souls for coming on stage and doing these 30-second pitches. Can we give them another round of applause? Also, I just want to say, Mahyad, I am so impressed by your work. And I am going to now say the thing you didn't say, because you are just, he's such a humble person. Mahyad has a Kickstarter currently going till Sunday to help fund this next trip to the Amazon, which is really crucial because burning season is happening. And it's a small window where they can go and film again. If you were moved at all by what Mahyad is doing, in the follow-up email, we will link to the Kickstarter, help him get over the finish line. Mahyad is one of the most purest, honest, wonderful humans I have ever met, and his work is really important. So I did it for you. Okay, and now thank yous as always before I send you off. Without our incredible volunteer team, we could just not put on these events. So thank you, Abby, Alicia, Angelica, Brian, Whitney, Christina, Sue, Katie, Kevin, Krista, Christina, Leah, Lenny, Maria, Meredith, Oriana, Cece, Megan, and Finn. And then thank you, Connie, for filming. You're the most reliable volunteer there is. I think 8 years in running, so we can watch these talks again. Thank you, Nelson. He's taking a photo of me right now for making us look so good. And then thank you, Matthew and Brandon, for helping us with the live stream. I think the live stream people should put in some applause into the chat right now. And then we're so excited. Next month, we're going to be back at CUNY on September 26th with letter artist and designer Lauren Holm. So this should be wonderful. And then, as always, I want to leave you with a quote. This one is by my daughter's favorite, Basho. It is, "Every day is a journey, and the journey itself is home," by Basho. So, and now, one more time, thank you, Mad. You are wonderful. You are generous. This space is stunning. This is the best ceiling I've ever welcomed our community under. And now, if you have time, go visit the exhibitions. This is so cool. If you don't have a ticket, we'll give you one on the way out. And just to remember, Zaya's exhibit is on floor 4 and 5, but it starts on 4. All right, enough with the operational stuff. Have a wonderful long weekend, I hope. Thank you for coming, and see you next month.